Elgato have their software for running when you're connecting your Stream Deck directly to your computer, but we have the software for connecting it to a complete broadcast network or controlling a lot more stuff in the network chain. Matthias, it started in 2018, like Matthias said, like William made this open source project. We worked together then, and we were so tired of all this software. And when you're running a small event and you need to do 10 things at the same time, and now it's been running pretty well. We have over 600, 500 installs in the world. We also like to say that we have data that we are installed in over 200 countries in the world. The United Nations says that it's 195 countries, so we're not sure about like where the last 5, but we're pretty representative in all countries and all kind of installations. But in 2024, we were founded and starting making the buttons. That is a more pro software, taking all the good thing from Companion, but putting in a new shape, a new, more scalable solution for the broadcast and the installation industry. By now, we have 400 plus paying customers, and that's increasing every day because we try to make a software that's both fitting the one-man band event industry, but also the big broadcaster. So we have customers from the whole lineup, and yeah, in small installation, but also the really big ones. Everybody that works in the company coming from the event and production industry. This is one of the biggest Norwegian artists, Karpe. They sing in Norway. They sing in Norwegian, so they're not that big in Europe. But this is a gig from 2019 that everybody worked together on. Most of the company we did the LED and the big screen production. So we're coming from the video and production industry. I worked as an engineer in charge myself for many years, being responsible for all the systems and the technical setup and that everybody have what they need in the production. So really, we have a big background from the production industry. And yeah, there was like 5 founders, and now we are 14 people in the company. And then we made buttons. So it's based on like 3 important things that we have over 700 connections. It's all the open source connection that you know from Companion. They work in just the same way in buttons. Everything is web configurable. We will look into it afterwards. That everything is controllable by our web page. You can configure it and start playing around with it. And we are vendor agnostic. That means that both we would like to collaborate on every vendors that make a product with a network port. We would like to integrate it and make it working. And also on the panel side, we are very good friends with Elgato, but we also support other panels, and you can also use an iPad or a web page. So we're pretty open to everybody. We don't want. We see that a lot of other companies that work in this, they lock down to one kind of panel, one kind of production. But we want to be the cool middleman that can talk to everybody. And we want to take the best we know from Companion, but make it bigger, better, and more scalable. And we see that today's challenge in the production industry is like, okay, it's a lot of proprietary solutions. Like Matthias said, you have one software for your audio mixer, you have one software for your audio desk, and it's more and more complex. And we also have more virtualization. You get more and more vendors that makes hardware that's been put in a rack far away from the operator, and there's maybe no panels on it. And we are less people that need to control more stuff. And we also got increased, we have less setup time and more shift between each job. So we want to make like it's as user-friendly as possible, and we make very complex tasks just in one button. And we think that when we are making that, we can boost a lot of creativity in the people that working. We had a production, big production that they have been working many days for the setup, and day 2 of the production, the stress has been a little bit go down, and the producer says, "Oh, when I don't want to stress, I always listen to this song. This is my favorite song." And the technician, he's like, "Okay, I'm going in, downloading that song, put it into QLab, the audio system, and make a button on the panel for the producer to relax time. And when he put that button, he was listening to his favorite music in only his headphones. So that, like, we don't think that would happen if the system was complex to configure. So then we're also getting more creativity, and that's having fun at work is also very important for making cool projects. And we want to have security and role management, coming a little bit more into that, but like, it should be easy to get the right people to access the right stuff. And we want to, like, make a Swiss Army knife can be a middleman in the system setup. And also, when we're coming over to, since we're also talking to all the equipment, we also want to get more data out from it. So what we're also working on is, like, alerts and monitoring. So the engineer in charge, you go home from a gig and you hope that when you're coming back tomorrow, the event starts at 9 and you're meeting up at 8. You hope that everything still works. But we also want to integrate some monitoring, that you can get an email if, for example, a vision mixer fall down during the night. You will get an alert, and you can. So you start drinking a coffee in the morning. Then you see, oh, I got a problem at site. I will go there 1 hour earlier and can fix stuff. So we want to have more confidence and stability and monitoring that one. Just an overview of how this looks. So we're starting with the panels that Matthias said that here they are connected on network. Here it's showing the Stream Deck Studio, but it could also be the Stream Deck XL that we see here. And the POV dock that we talked about, it's tailor-made for being underneath here. So then you can just run the network cable directly to your position and have the XL connected. So this could be any type of Stream Deck Studios, or it can be an iPad on your Wi-Fi. So that's work. That's a position. And then buttons is our software that runs on, it can in your system somewhere. It can be run on Mac or Windows. We also soon will come with Linux and Kubernetes. So when people hear, like, can we have a redundant setup with an A and B server? Then we say Kubernetes is our solution on that. Then you can have 3 servers, and if one fall down, the other 2 will take over and do your logic. So Kubernetes or Linux. You can also make a Linux virtual machine if that's also what you want. And we're coming further down to all our connections. Here you're represented by a Blackmagic mixer, a Video Hub. Yeah, we support over 700 vendors, and that's also increasing, not daily, but I would say weekly, that we see new integrations and new possibility. And you can build a connection yourself if you want to do that. But we are also working with vendors. I will talk a little bit more about that. But yeah, so connection is increasing every day, every week. Yes, this is positions. And when we're talking about connections, that means that we connect to equipment. For example, this PDZ camera. Then we can send actions to the camera. We can, like, say, go there, do active actions. We can also get feedbacks like, okay, now the camera is in that position, or this is that camera is on air on the vision mixer. And we also get variables in the same way on both, like, the vision mixer have all these inputs right now. So we know that it has 10 cameras input. Yeah. So this is the different data that we get from a connection. And it's pretty easy to integrate, I will say. We have customers that make a combination of AI and a little bit of code to make a connection, for example, to a light. If you want to have a GPIO to control a light in the installation, you have the hardware. It's not that hard to make a connection for it. And we have connection for everything from a big Sony mixer. We have this Vector right here, down to Philips Hue and just regular lighting. We also like to see that we are hardware agnostic. Here we're showing the Stream Deck Studio and the XL, but the panel itself is a web page, so it could be run on an iPad. And we also have support for Densitron that got some 2 and 4 units, rack units, touch screens that you can use. So it's pretty versatile. We're working also, now you're just opening the web page on the iPad, but we are also working on like a native app for Android and iPad. So we will get data back to the system to know that, okay, the iPad is on, it has power connected, and get some more information about that. Good. And also, like we got a lot of, when it's coming down to connections, we got a lot of feedbacks that vendors approach us and say, I have a customer I have so many customers that use your system, and we are missing this and this feature in the connection. So then we are now working together with vendors on the connection program. That means that, okay, they want us to fix, maybe do some extra work on the connection. They have some new equipment they want to integrate. And then we and the vendor making this connection, we exchange the money, and then we having the work and make this updated with the firmware updates and stuff like that. So we see a lot of in this industry that is a lot of hardware vendors that doesn't have this big UX department. So then we can be the friendly UX department and do the work on the connection. And we also do training, and we do videos for YouTube on how you connect the camera, how you connect the system, and making setup for that as well. So I think that's the overview. And then I would like to go into a demo and show you a little bit about the system. I would like to go through briefly the biggest functions in the system, but then I'm really open to if people have questions on the workflow side and how you think you will, stuff you would like to see, and also challenges that you have in your everyday setup. So let's go into the app. Good. Okay, yeah. So our system, we start with connecting stuff. Here, and that's fair easy because me and Matthias came here yesterday. We took one of the network cable and we find the IP addresses to the cameras and the vision mixer here, and then we just searched up the stuff. For the PT set, I use the Visca protocol, so I've been just adding the Visca, finding the PT set IP address on the network, and adding the 4 PT set cameras that you see here. And I also have the Vis Vector, the vision mixer right there. That's a software vision mixer running on the PC. So we connected that one as well. It's fair. It's the same basement as the TreeCaster, so we use that connection for the TreeCaster. And here we can go into the connection. We see that it's green. It's connected. I configured the IP address, and we can see here all the actions that I can send to it. We can do take functions, auto trans, run macros, set the source to program, all this stuff. I also got some feedback from it that I can see based on which input that's on the program. And I also can see, now we see that on program, it's input 2, and I got the input label from it. Yeah, so that's how the connections are built up. We also have a video hub, SDI video hub that's connected, and we will look a little bit into that later. And so then we connected a lot of stuff. So this is our setup here. And then we go on the surface side, and we connect all the different surfaces that we can control. So here you see the Elgato stuff, the Densitron, and also the iPad that I talked about. And I can just show you how that looks. Then it's, if we're adding an iPad, then you will see that it's just a web page with the buttons inside it. So, and then you can open it on your phone, or actually we also do Apple Watch. We tested it. I will not say I will run my whole show from Apple Watch, but it worked. And regarding licenses, we are pretty flexible because we're having like a pool license base, because in this system now I have 9 licenses. But if I turn off a panel, then you see it's suddenly downgrade how many surfaces I use. So that means if you have a big installation with, for example, 10, we have a customer that have 10 production galleries with 4 panels in each, but they normally don't have production in every gallery. Like one day they have 4 galleries, one day they have 5, but they're switching on which gallery to use depending on kind of production. So then they can go in here and turn on and off all the surfaces, and all the surfaces keep their settings and configuration when they turn it off, but it doesn't affect how many panels you use. So that's how we can deal with pool licenses as well. That's very important when you're coming into big customers. Okay, so now we have connected all our cameras and we have connected our surfaces. We'd like to see that here we have 3 surfaces. It's XL1, XL2, and no, the Stream Deck Studio 1, and the 2, and the XL. And then we binding this together as a position. So let's say that this is position number 1 from the engineer in charge, and here we have the whole grid. And then we can see how it's populated on the surface side. So this is surface 1, 2, and 3. And we can also drag them around to show how they will affect. And then it will immediately affect on the panel. I can just show you how that does. So you see that now, when I'm pushing it, you see that it's live updating depending on where the position of the panel is.
You need a flag, right?
Yeah, sorry. There, thank you. Now you see it's live updating. Good. And that means also one way some customers want to have like total redundant setup of panels, then you can just put them on top of each other and they will be completely alike during the production. Okay, so let's start. So here we have the grid, and on the grid we can put all our features. So we can start making just a regular button. And we see this button, we can go in here and customize this. First, we can use an icon. You can add pictures, your own icon, and we can set the camera there, and we, of course, put some text. Button number 1. And then we start configuring what we want to do with button number 1. And then we can go in and say, do I want making step features, like it's first this, then this, and then this, or we just want to have one action where we put it down. And then we're going into the action here, and then we can see we got all the actions that we know from the connections. So we can, for example, go on the this vector and say, I want to set source on program to camera number 3. And then so when I press the button, I will set the source to camera 3. So then I'm adding that, and when I'm pushing the button that I'm doing right now, then it's affecting. It was already on the camera 3. Let's change to another one, like that. And then it's immediately affecting on the panel. So that's like the very basic functionality. I'm making one button, and now camera 1, and when I'm pushing it, I'm using shift here, then it's the same as pushing the button on the panel. So then it's changing. Now it's camera 1. They got the same source of those two. So yeah, so that's like the basic. We can also make a feature like when you press it, one thing happen, and when I release it, another thing will happen. And that's the first and basic buttons. Button, one feature. But then we maybe want to make several buttons, because so then we start making a section. So we're putting here a section, and inside this section, I will make several buttons. I will, for example, say, okay, I want here to configure the program on the vector, but I don't want to make one button for each source. So I go in and say, create a repeater. Then it automatically making all the buttons for the program here. But you see, we got more sources now inside here that we can show. So then the system enables scrolls, and then you see it auto-populating all the buttons inside this area. And also, if we want to resize it and say, okay, I only want to use this area for this, then it's auto-making this. And now we can just go through with the scroll wheel and go through all the different inputs. Maybe we remove the coffee as well. Okay, so this is now one section with a lot of features on each button. But we can also then make a new section, and we want to make more buttons there. Let's make, let's make several buttons there, and we can repeat it by 100, for example, and we just see it same, we enable scroll, and then that will be a new section, and when you're also pushing the button, pushing the wheels, then you can which area you are controlling. So that is two ways of making section. Is first two ways to how you set up the buttons. And we can also select another way of working is the folder section. So then you're actually building one folder tree in the panel. So let's see, okay, I want to go in and it's automatically generating the whole folder tree. And you can also see, you can add as many folders you want, and you can put folders, inside folders, yeah. And then you push the button outside of it, or inside this folder, I will have these buttons. So yeah, it's a folder, and of course on your panel you can have several folders, areas, if you want to have that, in one area for that. So it's auto-populating all the menu tree. And the next function on how you can build more buttons is that we can make something we call the popover. And a popover is a menu in front of the other ones. So there you see inside here, we can then, for example, put a folder. So you see that when it's coming in, you have all your buttons there, and you're going in, then you get a menu in front of it, and inside there you can then do a folders area. And of course, inside there you can also put your section, a button for all the inputs on the Vision Mixer. So that's pretty, and everything is done in the web page, because now I'm accessing the buttons installation on my computer. But yeah, so everything is done in a Chrome web page. And as we said, as we're working on making the connections better, we're also working on making the preset better, because now I made one button, one function, and it also will take some time. So we can drag in predefined presets for all our stuff. So let's take the whiz vector again, and we see that, okay, I want to control my source on a program. We can drag in all the buttons at the same time, and we got the pre-configure. So now I can control it by using the already pre-programmed presets. And again, now I was loading all at one button by button, but you can also load it as a popover. So you go in here and you drag it, add the source and program, and then I will get inside there, and there I got the control of the whole program. So pretty easy to just drag and drop all the features you want. We can also look into the PDZ cameras that we have here. We got some presets on them as well. So I will go and load it as a section, and we go and find the pan tilt. And now I here have what that's the PDZ in center, and you see that we're controlling the PDZ. The only thing I've been adding is the IP address and the Visca port, and then all this is predefined and ready to use. So that's how we start building a position and putting buttons into it. Does anyone have any questions or any thoughts after seeing this?
It has a limit for panel, or it's
No, we don't have any limit. It's license based, but you can add as many panels you want. I think our biggest customer so far has 80 panels. Yeah, and yeah.
Do you have any activators or something where the button scorer would change depending on the condition? For example, I find it very useful in audio when you can see when the microphone is on air.
Yeah.
So therefore, it will change color of the button.
Yeah.
Can you do this also?
Yeah, you can use the feedback function.
Oh, yeah.
So like when you're having the activated fader, then it will get red. I'm a little bit unsure on why it didn't work on the whiz vector, because you see when you drag in here, you get the tally. Now you see the camera 2 is on. It's the same way, but I think it's some setup in the mixer. That's why it doesn't change. But now, if you have a Blackmagic mixer, it will like change, continue on which are on air. And that's it's a cool way of thinking about the panel. Of course, it's that button that you can push, but you can also use this as a confident monitor. So I know that people, for example, Sennheiser have some integration that you can have the RF level and the battery level of your audio pack from the host. So because that may be not easy to always go into the Sennheiser software to see, but if you can just have the 2 buttons up there to just show the battery level, then the producer in the news can also know and see that, okay, here you have, I know that this has battery and it's connected. So yes, you can use it. You can make it yourself, or you can also get all the feedback. For example, if you're going here and you see all the feedbacks that we got from the Visvector, change style on the depending on which camera that are on here. So yes, you can use it. A little bit depending on which kind of audio mixer you're using, but it's also possible to add that function. It also can be, you can also build the clock. It's the updating sequence of the panel is, I think, 15, 20 times each second. So you can have a running clock on it as well if you want to have that, to show how fast the update is. So, and then we can go into looking at the workflow part. We start with the queue list. So now we have been talking about putting buttons and putting functions next to each other, but you can also make a queue list if you want to pre-program something. Okay, so we're adding 10 queues, and in every queue we can all add the same functions that we talked about. So we can say that, okay, we're starting to queue number 1 is set the right input on the vision mixer, and on the same time we want to, and the next thing should be PT set and set the preset on the PT set, for example, or just pan left. So then you can add a lot of functions in a rundown setup. We had a customer that talked about he's using this for a teacher lecture. So they have a room where teacher coming in and do recording of the lecture. So they don't, and the teacher is not technical persons, right? But the setup is a vMix, some lighting from a light console, the Elgato prompter, and the teacher coming in, scanning their card, and depending on which card is scanned, they load the right name of the graphics into the graphic system. The teacher are allowed to change some color on the depending on what kind of lecture they are having. So you can have, okay, today I want to have yellow light, or I want to have red, and then the prompter is also loading the script from their home, from a server at the school. So if that teacher has its own private folder, and then it's load up. And then the teacher can just press start the recording. They do the lecture, talk through the whole thing, pushing stop. And then the file is also auto published on the internal system, depending on which teacher that was scanning the card. So the students can go in, okay, today I'm going to look up this teacher. So everything is automated for the teacher by using our software, and also Elgato Stream Deck. So it's and of course, if you have a person there, they can make the stream as well. But then you need to use all the different software. So and then it's also, you can use the opening sequence. You can use the queue list for doing this in a separate, very specific order. Start recording, stop recording. And also fire confetti, because I guess the teacher would like to have that in their in the system as well. So that's how you can use a queue list. You can add all the same functionality, and you can press step by step and go through it. So that's also something we just released, and we are not playing out any graphics. We are not playing out any music or video clips. We are only controlling other stuff that's doing it. We just want to be like the control system. We're not going to do play out, just to be clear on that. Okay, so then I think we want to go into routing. We have a video router, a Blackmagic STI video router in the system that have I think 250 input and outputs. And then the system know that this is a video router and it's got in and outputs. And then we need to tell the system a little bit on how that works. So we're starting with saying, I see here in the system all my inputs, and there's not that easy to understand what it was. So then we can start saying, okay, let's say that the first 5 is camera. Then we can mark it cam, and then we say we start with camera 1, and then we got 5 cameras, and we can make, let's say that they are yellow, and also the icon now is made with the icon. Then we take the next 5 inputs and say that they could be VTR players, I say. VTR, and then we say it by same increasement, VTR 1 to 4, and we can also say that they are maybe, yeah, it actually found that icon pretty good, but you see that we have a lot of library on different kind of icons you can use, and yeah, and you can also upload your own. And we also, let's say, we can say that we have Macs in the system, and that will be Mac 1 to 4, but we also say how the icon there is, yeah, and we want to have this as well. No, not yellow, let's say red. So now we renamed the input in the system to have 5 cameras, 4 VTR players, and 6 Macs. And then we want to go to, now we don't put this in folders. Now this is only a labeling side. So we know now we'll like to put some tags to these inputs. So then we're starting by going into our tag organizer and say this, we go into the camera tag and say that, okay, I have this 5 input as cameras, and on the VTR player side, I have this 4 VTR players. And then I'm not putting this input in this like a folder. I'm giving the metadata tags. That's important to how we organize it. And we also have some computers. You see that, oh, this is from the last demo, but we can also just get rid of that one, and we can add, say that we add this, the name confirming. So now this is the input that we have as a Mac, and also I remove this one. And we can also go on the output side, on the routing labels, and we can look at destinations. And let's say I already have that, say that output number 9 is a backstage monitor, and I can say that this is the front of house monitor. And I can give this the monitor sign, and I will also give this color. And then we also on the tag, we can say that on the monitor equipment, on the destination, I say we can also search here. So we got the backstage and front of house and confirming. And so this is the tag for what kind of input it is. We can also give it tags on the location. So we can say that, okay, in the production room number 1, we can say that all these in sources are connected in production room number 1. And the same with the output. These 2 outputs are related to production room number 1, PCR 1. Then we're going back to the position and say that, okay, now I want to make a router section. And then I'm showing which button I want to have this on, and we're saying router. And now it's populate all the input and outputs automatically in the system on how you can route. So now we see everything, and you can scroll by everything. But maybe we want to list out now, this should only handling stuff that are in PCR. Or first we can say that we can go to the filters if you are a user, and then, okay, now I only want to say equipment that are cameras. Then it's auto listing out cameras. But I also maybe want to see cameras and players, and then I got them together, or I only want to see players. Then I got the 4 players. So that is how you can you don't need to do anything to make every router panel. And also now, if I'm adding, let's say I had 4 players, but after 1 day of show, I see I need to add 1 player more. Then I'm going in, and in the router, in the label side, I say that, okay, I will use input number 20 as VTR. What was the next VTR number? VTR 5. And and then I also putting in the tag section. This is my player, and I'm using VTR5 as well. And then it shows up directly on the screen. So we don't need now to like go in and configure that position one more, because I give it a tag and then it's auto listing out all you see in that tag. So we got back here, and here now we can see everything, but we don't want to do that. So we can put a filter for this position and say, I only want to see stuff and sources that are related to PCR1. And then all the other stuff disappear, and I only seeing stuff from PCR1. Then we have the 2 outputs, and we have all our input side here. So this is maybe how we want to show it to a regular user. They can come here, see, okay, I'm in PCR1, I can control PCR1, I don't want to control anything else. But maybe we have a super user in your system that should control more stuff when they're coming here. Then we can, for example, make a popover, like we saw earlier, and making a big popover, and inside there, I put a section for routing the whole system. But again, this should not be allowed by everyone, right? So then I want to add an NFC rule that Matthias talked about earlier, that we have NFC readers. So we can then scan the card. Then I see I got the card inside the system. I'm adding that as a rule.
That's my hotel card, by the way.
Yeah, just a regular hotel card. You can get into Matthias' room, and you can also route here now. So then you see, okay, I'm coming to the panel. I'm seeing all the destinations. Now I only see the destination for PCR1, but I'm opening the whole system, but I cannot do it. I cannot do anything because it's locked. And then I'm scanning the card, then you get access to that section. And now we lock down the router section. We can also lock down maybe, a whole nother system, another part of the system. So it doesn't need to be a router, it can be everything. Does anybody have like any thinking about how this can be useful for your usage? Maybe. At least you can come into Matthias' hotel room with it. We also want to think about how we can personalize the equipment today. So I will show how you can go in, and so that this is how the system looks today, how the panels look today. But depending on which card that shows up to work, you can also change how the look of the panel is. So now I'm scanning this, then I see this panel that we already built. But if I'm scanning this, then I can see a whole other section of buttons. So this you can, depending on which card, you can do different kind of workflows and different kind of actions. We are working on also integrating the user management. So we already can read out SSO from Microsoft Azure and all the big companies and Samla and all this. And then when we're connecting the card and the SSO, then we will do also actions depending on which users. That's more to come, like for next year. But by now, we can, depending on which card, do different kind of actions. So that's also a very cool feature to use the card and the NFC reader. And that make me go into the workflow part of the system. That's I'm not a developer, so I don't. I'm not the best person to show this, but I just want to get to know that this is a very powerful tool. It's node based, so it's not code, but it's nodes that you can use actions from all our connections and all our variables and add them into building different kind of workflows. So we see that we have you can have API into the system. If you want to, like, I want to control our system from an external, then you make an API receiver here, and depending on what kind of API call you get, you can do different kind of connections, actions. You can also use, you see that we have a lot of this logic. You can say that, okay, depending on this logic and this, then I want to make this action happens, and then you build all your stuff by connecting different kind of actions with the lines here. And here also we you can use connections feedback, and also yeah. So here is how I built this routing of a panel. Is like when the NFC reader read this card and the logic, depending on the card ID, you get a true and false, and then you're actually doing a routing of the panel depending on which card that was read. So it's a really powerful tool for those who are into making configure and also coding, but you don't need to be a proper coder, I will say. You can, for example, set up a schedule that every Monday at 9 o'clock you connect this studio, or you turn off everything if something is on. You do those kind of actions as well. And also got conditional feedback. So if camera 1, for example, we can set up a workflow here that if camera 1 is on air, I always want this to happen. I also want to blink some other lights. I want to do something with my light consoles, flash the light. So yeah, it's a very powerful tool. I had one thing I used as a workflow builder. I did a reality show where we had an interview booth backstage. So it was close to where the people, the crew was hanging out. But they built an own dedicated booth for it. But we wanted to know where there is people inside this booth or not. And of course, you can hang up a sign and you know that people will forget to turn around that sign. Now there are somebody in the booth doing interviews. Please be quiet outside. So, and also the booth was very small and not that great air in it. So we added the Philips Hue, just an on-off power source to control a fan that was pulling out air. And also it was the lighting in the room was controlled with a Grandma, a regular light console. And it was a Riedel panel inside there as well. So we want to make it as easy for the reporter when she come in, everything is turned off on the light and the fan was running. And so you got a button on a Riedel that's when you push that button, then you turn on the lighting and you turn in the room and you turn off the fan and you also turn on the big red light outside of the area. So the people that were sitting and eating their lunch know, okay, now there are somebody in there and we want to, now we don't need to talk that loud. And that was how we also made that reporter remember to turn that button off, because when she was done with the interview, she also, okay, I need to turn off the light in the room before I'm leaving it. And then she touched the button on the Riedel panel and then everything went off. So it's a pretty easy thing, but combining like a Riedel panel, Philips Hue, and also a Grandma console, it's not that many systems that can do that. And we build that in the whole workflow way in like 10, 15 minutes. So that's also very cool to like be a little bit creative on making that as easy as possible. I think that's on the workflow part. Here is, I will say that the creativity is maybe the limit because you can do so much with it and use all our connections. Does anybody so far have any questions? Yes.
A lot of questions.
Yeah, good. Hopefully I can answer some of them.
When you use an NFC card,
Yeah.
how do you lock the panel when you're done with your stuff? And is it possible to fully lock the panel?
Yeah. Now, then you need to lock everything down in sections, and when you close the section, then you need to read your card again. So if you like making several sections here now, that are I think that if you're making a section here, and inside there we put an NFC rule again. I just need to turn off. Then-
NFC is cool, but it can also be a code 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a bad one.
Yeah, it could.
So it doesn't have to be NFC for information.
No, yeah, it's the same way. I just want to test if we're making a section here, and then we're making a lot of buttons inside that section, and then the NFC rule again. So now it's locked. So now it's completely locked when I come to it. I'm a little bit unsure about the timeout, because that's what you worry about. Like, how fast the timeout is. I need to double check that. But if you put it into a popover, then it's timeout directly when you close the popover. So like now it's locked, right? And if I'm opening it, then it's open. And the next time I open it again, yeah. I know that we have had some customers in a control room thinking about making an integration with a pillar that says if there's somebody sitting at the desk or no. So when you leave the desk, then it should lock, like your computer at like an open landscape situation. We haven't made that yet, but I know that it's been a request, and we've been thinking about how we can integrate, like lock the panel when as soon as one person leaves the workstation.
Is it possible to customize the timeout? For example, if someone is the admin, he can go everywhere on each panel, and for no pushing the card every time. Is it possible for like a super user to unlock everything and don't have to put the card every time?
I know it by now it's not we don't have any function for it now, but I will write it down as a thing, because I know that when we are coming, that will come this spring, when we are combining the user and the user management and the cards, then this question will pop up on how we can like control stuff. So that will be definitely something we need to work on. I will write it down. Timeout on the lock function. Yes.
Or maybe just one button to say, okay, I'm done, and I lock the panel.
Like a logout function in one way. Yeah. Did you have a no?
I have.
Yes, perfect.
Is it possible to assign the wheel buttons on the left and right, or they are just for scrolling?
No, you can do functions as well. I don't have an audio mixer in the system now, but you can, like, for example, say that, okay, this is microphone 1, and then you're gaining microphone 1. And we also see users that have populated their communication system on there. So like, say you have 4 channels, you have a headset and you have a communication system running somewhere, and then I want, like, okay, when I hold here, I'm adjusting my program listening, and here I adjust the producer. So yes, it's definitely it's about using, when you're creating a button and using an action, and then you see the encoder action here. So then you use that together with the audio mixer. So yes, it's not only for scrolling, but definitely for those kind of uses as well.
Because we don't see the wheel buttons on the panel page.
No.
So that's why I was surprised
that you see here an action, and then you're using the encoder action. Yeah. And then you can, for example, but then you're pushing it, and then like gain, and then when you're pushing it, then you access the gain functionality.
Okay, so it's every time it's combined with button.
I think you need to combine it, so like you're holding down the right one. Okay. Yeah, I don't think it remember it, but I think, like, for example, now I'm not sure if it now will scroll or go on the last function, but yeah, mainly it's like you hold the right button down and then you're scrolling. So that definitely for example, audio gain is that made for. And it could also, like, you're holding down and you do the PT set. Color, especially color grading, like you hold, okay, blue, and adding more, so definitely those kind of function as well. Good. So that's also definitely a feature that we will support. I just also want to show you, when we're assigning a surface here, when we talked about the iPad, you see also this is how the iPad will be populated. So the web page here on this iPad now, you see it, you see how it's showing up as a surface. And when you go into the surface here, and we can here adjust how big it is, and also we see how it's disabled, but when we turn it on, then we soon see all the buttons that are showing up. But now there's no button there, but yes. So this is how, and then this web page you can show it on Android or you can your phone, and it's a scalable HTML5 web page. I think that's we're also we have something we call shared sections, and that's also when we're coming to adding stuff that can be on all panels, because now we have been working on position number 1, and of course you can make as many positions as you want to, and then for example if you want to have an area that is the same for all panels, I can make a popover up here, and showing where I want to have this popover. I want to have it to the left, I want to have it there, and inside here I can add something we call the shared section, and then I have something I call house control. That's and then I control that shared section inside here. And here, if I want to go edit that, I have something under positions, shared, and here you can show every panel that have this area will affect when I control when I'm adding buttons here. So this is an easy way of like, okay, I want to build like one light control that all the desks should maybe control the house lights. Then I'm making an area called house lights, and adding all my buttons and all my functions for the house lights there, and that will affect on all the panels that get that area. So it's like a global functionality that you can add, and you can of course make as many shared sections as you want to into this system, and also have different buttons for the shared section. So maybe all the audio guys have one area and all the light guys have one area, and you populate that on the panel. Good. I also not showing so much of it here, but on the routing side we were talking about routing SDI, but you can also make a router panel for routing NDI, and also routing Dante work as well. And then we so a lot of features that have this router, so you don't need to go in and use the Dante controller. You can have the inputs and output populated on the same router section that we saw earlier. We also support NMOS 4 and 5, so you can add directly into the system and controlling 2110 equipment as well. Yes, and one thing that one of the first things that's on our roadmap for the start of next year, as you see, we haven't talked anything about the tally system, but that is something that we will include working on now in Q2 next year. We will have tally routing as well, so you can do routing from your Vision Mixer directly to your cameras, and do tally depending on which camera that are on air, and GPIOs directly to the CCUs. So that's something that definitely will. Now we say that we are a control system. We don't want to say that we are a broadcast control system, because we think that we want to control more than just broadcast. We are AV, Pro AV. We are a lot of different setups, but making the tally management will definitely make it also like a broadcast control system. And also we were looking into the tag sections and talking about inputs and outputs. We will also working on making virtual input and outputs, so then you can populate if you want to route inside an input. So getting a virtual level on the routing page as well is something that we're working on for also next year, beginning of next year. And together with tally, we will then include also NMOS-7 for tally. And as I start talking about a little bit about alerts and monitoring, for those who come from the IT world, we have as an MP for getting overview of how the system, if everything is up, and getting alerts if something falls down and stop working. We will also include in the connections, since we are having connection to all the equipment that you use for your production. We can also get, okay, for example, the cameras doesn't work anymore. The Vision Mixer has been offline for 2 hours. Then we will integrate in a monitoring solution. You get alerts, and you can set up email alerts, SMS alerts. Okay, now this is my Vision Mixer hasn't responded to their IP address for five minutes. So that is also something we're really working on, to get in and to have alerts and monitoring. now we are yeah. So I think that's also very interesting. We can control the PT set from here. We are also to each button we can add pan tilt and those kind of functions. We are also working on making a unified PT set controller because we see that lots of customers have like 2 Sony, 1 Panasonic, 5 whatever cameras, and now you need to make a button for each camera. But we're looking for making one function in the system that you can use your PTZ controller, but then route all your cameras to one PTZ controller. So we have a lot of customers doing reality shows like Love is Blind and Paradise Hotel and those kind of stuff where they have maybe 50 PTZ cameras inside a house. And then but maybe, so yeah, again, it's combined of different vendors. So then we'll make into the system, making a solution so we can route to your controller all the different kind of PT sets. So I think that will be a very interesting functions as well. I think that's most. I also want to show some. We did a big event in Germany, in Hamburg. It was a gaming event with a lot of I think 80 million viewers worldwide. And our system was used for both controlling the OB van and the camera production, but also inside the arena and all the lighting. And inside the arena, they also, one thing, they made integration with the game. So when people were killed in the game, they made the light console change the light for red for that team area. And also that getting data from a game and directly to a Pro AV or Pro light console, that is also pretty cool. So they used the buttons. They have 25, 30 panels, I think, and had over 80 million viewers. It was a Swedish OB van with a big lot of workflow nodes and a very big setup on the camera side. So so that was pretty cool, and also one really big job for combining that many people from the lighting desk down to the production van. Do you have anything more or specified workflow stuff, or what kind of equipment questions? No, I think I'm getting soon to the end of the presentation. We have some samples there if you want to look a little bit more on how you can use it and how it's looking physically. Yeah. And of course, we also we have a demo team in our company that if you're coming back to your team and you said that, okay, I want to show this to more people, you can email me directly and we will be happy to set up more demo time. And also if I specify equipment, you're wondering how can we support it, we also can look into those kind of stuff as well. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Thank you, Tarald.
Thank you.
Thank you.